Hello, my fellow handicappers. This is Weekend Handicapper from weekendhandicapper.com. In this video, we are going to provide a recap of the 2021 Belmont Stakes. Every horse race, I think you should take away, look for things you can take away from each of those horse races that you wager on or you handicap. See what you did right, see what you can improve on, and maybe some lessons learned. So, whether it's the Belmont Stakes or some claiming race on a Wednesday night somewhere, you should do that, get in the habit of that. So let's do that with the 2021 Belmont Stakes. And there's not much to take away from it other than one of the main things is unfortunately, the late Denny Green, football coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Cardinals back in the day. They were who they thought. What's the quote? They were who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. Well, Essential Quality was who we thought he was. Unfortunately, the Derby didn't work out for him, but we let him in the winner's circle because he's a good horse. He's a 2-year-old champion. There's no shockers in this year's Belmont. When you have Essential Quality finishing first, Hot Rod Charlie finishing second, Rombauer finishing third, and Known Agenda finishing fourth. In horse racing, that's called formful. It was a formful race. There's no shockers. The most talented horses looked like they won and took care of business for the most part. And hey, you got to tip your hat to a good horse like Essential Quality, Brad Cox, Godolphin, Luis Saez, who is probably my favorite jockey out there now. I love Luis, and he did a good job on Essential Quality in this race. So, the first thing to take away is Essential Quality, no-brainer, good horse. That's why he was 6-5 at post time there. I feel bad for the horse because I really thought he could win the Kentucky Derby, and he had a bad trip in the Kentucky Derby. Horrible start, was wide all the way around pretty much. And that's why for years now, I'm not a fan of 20-horse fields in the Kentucky Derby. It ain't going to change because of greed. But, even though this year we had 19 horses, I think if you had less horses, you'd have, less chaos. But that's how it goes. So that's for another video. But congratulations to Essential Quality and its connections. It's a shame that, like I say every year with the Kentucky Derby, don't judge horse racing on the Kentucky Derby, even though it's probably the most popular race every single year that people pay attention to. It's so unique. And it's one of those reasons it's unique is because all the traffic trouble and all the horses, and it's just, so don't judge horse racing on the Kentucky Derby. And I'm glad Essential Quality could redeem itself, even though it was a short price, paid $4 and something. The whole race was very low paying, so nobody got rich in this race, playing just this race. So you were smart not to pick too many horses. Hopefully you didn't spread too much in your multi-race wagers. All right, so that's the first one. Congratulations to EQ. I'm glad you redeemed yourself. Always thought you were a really good horse, so I'm happy. The wallet's not necessarily that fat because of the Belmont Stakes race, but at least my heart's pretty happy because I've always been a fan of Essential Quality and his daddy, Tappet. I'm a big fan of Tappet. All right, the second thing to take away is Hot Rod Charlie. Hey, Hot Rod, you brought it today. Got out there on the lead, competing for that early lead and hung on. And, just look at the replay. The Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie was miles ahead of Rombauer and every other horse in the field. So if you liked Hot Rod Charlie, you should be proud of yourself for picking that horse. That Hot Rod Charlie is a tough sucker. I wasn't too confident in that stretch. I felt pretty good, I guess, but you never count out Hot Rod Charlie. That horse always puts up a good fight. So, to the connections of Hot Rod Charlie, trainer Doug O'Neill, and the horse, of course, man, very good fighter, Hot Rod Charlie. Much respect to Hot Rod, definitely. So let's keep an eye on Hot Rod going forward. And the third takeaway I think we could take away from this race is I always like, this is one of the reasons, the motivation that I created this channel way back in January of 2014, is horse racing is beatable. It makes sense for the most part. Not every race makes sense, but over time, most horse races, you can see some logic in it. This is a big race. It's a stakes race. And you know, it's in hindsight, I know. We're doing a recap. But the majority of horse races, in my opinion, you can understand what happened, who won, why they won, and it's pretty formful. That's why this game is so unique and so special, and it's a shame it's got some negative aspects of it or get some bad press and you got some bad apples out there, and horse racing needs to do a better job of cleaning itself up and making it more appealing to a wider variety of players, spectators, fans. But I love it. I love the game. I love handicapping. I love trying to figure out who to bet. You know, handicapping's one thing, and then you got to solve the puzzles. Like this race is a perfect example. Just because a race is formful, like this one was, your best horses finished in the lowest odds horses for the most part finished 1, 2, 3, 4. And why is that? Because the crowd is so daggone smart. People are smart. It's called the wisdom of the crowds, wisdom of crowds. People figure this stuff out. There's a reason Essential Quality won, and it was 6-5. Because this ain't the lottery, folks. This isn't a slot machine. You're not pushing a button on a slot machine and hope you get lucky. This stuff makes sense. Hot Rod Charlie was the second choice. I'm pretty sure it was the second choice. It finished second. Why? Because people see that and they realize that that's probably one of the main horses that you have to, that's probably going to win the race. And then Rombauer, same thing. Known Agenda, same thing. It makes sense. If you get good at handicapping, you're going to get good at figuring this stuff out. But here's the key thing. This race was very formful, the Belmont Stakes. There's no shockers, there's no surprises, but that doesn't mean you make money just because you figure it out. And I always say that in these videos. We can get good at picking horses. We can get good at predicting the pace scenarios and who's going to come in first, second, or third, but that does not mean you're going to go home with more money than you came there with, just because you were right. Not necessarily. I mean, just look at some of the payouts of this year's Belmont. It's very hard to make some money. So you got it's like golf or any other thing that's very frustrating, right? You could be right and still lose and not make money. And you might not have a good opinion in a certain race, and you might go home with all kinds of money. You might be taking vacations and buying new laptops and one of them Longy watches they were giving away there in the winner's circle at the Belmont. But that's why I love it. It's the best puzzle on earth. You got beautiful animals that are bred to do this. You got just the fascinating. If you love solving puzzles, you'll love handicapping and trying to figure out horse races. It's a beautiful game. Yeah, it's got some negative things with it, but my goodness, when it comes down to just the betting and the handicapping, it's a beautiful challenge. I love it. And anybody that loves a good challenge and loves intellectual stimulation, you're going to love horse racing. And I just can't say it enough. A race like the 2021 Belmont only confirms that this isn't a scratch off. This isn't a slot machine. You know, and I see these slot channels, you know, that get a lot of views, and which is cool. I guess is exciting, but I don't know if there's a strategy. There could be a strategy. I don't play slot machines, so I don't know. But man, I just love the act of handicapping, the process of handicapping, of selecting horses. I love getting up in the morning, getting your favorite drink and reading those PPs, or the night before, whatever. Watching replays. I love it. I love it. It's a beautiful game, and I don't know what other gambling game can come close, honestly. I mean, I guess poker, you have a potential or to make some money. Blackjack, if you count cards, I guess. But I don't want to be staring at dudes for the most part for hours on end playing poker in a smoky casino. That's not me. I love either being at the track in open air, watching beautiful animals run in the sunshine, getting this golden dome looking good, or in the comfort of my own home with all these computer monitors fired up, and I just love it. All right, enough of that. I'm digressing like I always do, and I'm sure y'all let me know that I'll digress. But let's recap. 1, essential quality, we know is the real deal. We always knew that. It's just a shame that got a bad trip in the Kentucky Derby, but that's horse racing. And we'll always have horses that get bad trips in the Kentucky Derby when there's that many horses in the starting gate of the Kentucky Derby. There's too many horses, in my opinion. Number 2, Hot Rod Charlie. If you had Hot Rod Charlie, you should be very proud. You know, he's got my respect. He's always had my respect, and I've always been trying to beat him. I beat him, I think, twice. Well, more than that, with Essential Quality in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but I lost to him in the Louisiana Derby. But I know he's a tough horse, and I always am fearful of Hot Rod Charlie. So, real deal, much respect to Hot Rod Charlie, much the best, other than Essential Quality. And number 3, horse racing, yet again, proves itself that it's a very formful gambling game, that it makes sense. Luck happens in some races, but for the majority of the time, it's a logical puzzle that can be solved. That does not mean it's a profitable puzzle in many cases. And that's the challenge. You got to balance being right with trying to make some money. Hopefully you can do both and you'll be happy, but I'm happy at the result of the 2021 Belmont Stakes. Let me know how you did in this year's Belmont on Belmont Day and Belmont Stakes. Hopefully you cashed some winners and you had some fun and didn't lose all your bankroll. And let me know in the comments below if you hadn't already. I appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you can get all the latest tips, tools, and resources from Weekend Handicapper, weekendhandicapper.com. Until next time, happy handicapping, smart wagering.